Best of it is, I do like exaggerating. I'm known for that. Rung daughter last night says, "Oh, I'm on TV tomorrow, keep an eye out for me." I don't know where to start. I'm Tony. I've worked in, VolkerRail for 30 years now. My present role is business manager in the plant division, and I look after the keer-off cranes, beaver tampers, road railers, cross-hire machines. I've had quite a diverse career through Volkers, and I've been quite lucky that I think I was in the right place at the right time. The first I heard, I was actually at college doing construction at Scunthorpe, and two people from Grant Line Eager at the time came in, and they sold Grant Rail at the time, Grant Line Eager, sorry, as a firm, and Rail, and everyone in the room, there's I think 15 on the course. I said, "What's Rail?" Never heard of Grant Line Eager, and they're quite big. No one had ever heard of them in Scunthorpe. So they got down to two of us and asked if we wanted to go for an interview and that, which was exciting. So I went, told my dad, all excited, so they've come into college, there's two of us. They want to interview us, one of us gets his job. Our dad turned around and said, "I've never heard of him." Well, he was working for a firm called Gold, I think, and they said, "Oh, if you get a job with them, you've got a job for life." I said, "I've still never heard of him. I never even thought of Rail." He was Grant Line Eager at the time. So I went down to Scotterbottom, where they were based, had the interview and was successful. But then I actually said no to the job because I wanted to carry on with my college. And they turned around straight away and said, "We'll put you through that day release if you're happy." So I was lucky there. First job was in Norwich as a junior engineer on the renewal side. But it's when Grant Line Eager was just starting to get in with rail track. So I was doing all different types of renewals every different week, and so it was really interesting. But I remember the first time I went out on a job on my own, I got given this big battery thing, an aerial to stick on my car, and you had a radio, and it was useless, it never worked. So then you just had to find a phone box, hope you had change on it, if not, reverse charge. Totally different, because it wasn't just coming into rail. At the time, everything was different. You had a learning curve with learning your new job. We also had a learning curve. I was stopping in bed and breakfast, finding my own hotels, and it was an eye-opener, a bit worrying at the start, but it was very interesting, and you always got a lot of support. The safety culture has 100% changed. It's far safer now than it's ever been. When I started, safety hats was just coming in. So obviously the behavioural culture, it took a while for people to wear them. We had an orange vest on and that was it. We did a lot more red zone working, which obviously not allowed to do without special permissions and director permissions and everything. But yeah, the first 3 years of my life was all red zone working, apart from weekends at renewals. So you just go out there and in between trains, get the measurements you needed, and then get off track. I think the hardest bit is, and I don't want to sound awkward, is at night, as an engineer you first go to help the site, you're probably there on your own, or there's a couple of you. I was actually having the guts to walk in a pub on your own and get an evening meal. You sat there on your own, and that was a bit daunting. Now it doesn't bother me, but at the time. When I moved from renewal side, because I'd been with the Dutch and we brought the beaver tampers across at the time, and they were not like nowadays with the computer systems. I'd spent a lot of time on them, and then as it turned from Grant Line Eager to Grant Rail, the plant division started to do more external works, not just internal, to obviously build a business up for them as well. And they had quite a few problems selling the beaver tampers. So I got seconded to plant for, I think it was a couple of months, I got told at the time, just to get these out on hires. And since then we've got Nottingham Metro, where I just ended up working with the beavers all the time, and it just progressed and started to build a client base or get repeat business just for the beaver tampers at the time. And then at that stage it's when the management changed a bit in plant and a lot of Jarvis people come in from the Jarvis side, and we're out on site one day and we're running the beaver tampers, and the guy from Chris Ovelden, I think his name was, just turned around and says, "Do you want to be a team leader?" I said, "Well, I work for him," and just said that. He says, "Do you want to stop in plant?" And it just built from there. I always remember getting a phone call off, it was Hydrex at the time. We want to hire your machines, can you be in York in an hour's time? And I was like, yeah, no problems, whereabouts? Give me a hotel, which is very bizarre at the time, I thought. And I met the director from hijacks at the time. I know I shouldn't say it, but he didn't come across as a very nice person. And I sat there with this cup of tea, which I didn't really like tea at the time, but I just smiled and said yeah. And he said, right, what are your rates? And if we're happy with your rates, we'll have your machines this weekend. So I was put right on the spot, didn't have a computer, calculator or anything, so I was thinking what we're selling to internal at, added a bit, told him, and he looked at the other guy that introduced me to come, and he says, yep, we'll start this weekend, get him on our approved suppliers list. I think, to be honest, I don't want to sound, I'm proud most days. It's difficult to explain that what I love is the things do go wrong. No matter how hard you plan, no matter how many times things go wrong. And I love it, and you'll always start the conversation a bit awkward. And I love the fact that you'll start with project manager, different firms, clients, an awkward conversation. We always come out laughing and joking at the end, and we've solved the problem, we've got over it. And I think that's the thing I love, and it's not just one person can do that. You need the full team there supporting, coming up with ideas. And I think that's the key for me, but there are that many good moments. I think the opportunity to go to Holland and see how they work. I had a spell in Ireland, enjoyed that. Not long, but it was just something different. And I think I love the diversity of the work. There's so much different work. Every day is a different challenge, a different problem. I don't want to sound sad, but yeah, I enjoy, everyone's different. I don't mind the work. I like hard work. I like the reward at the end when you see the end product. So I don't think I would change my career path, to be honest. And it's weird, a couple of years ago, I was talking to one of my friends and they said, do you feel you're stuck in a rut? And I said, no. And he says, are you scared to move to other jobs? It was a weird conversation we had, and I don't know how it came about. And I said, no. I said, because I've had so many different roles and responsibilities within VolkerRail, Grant Line, Eager, that it's been like, at times going from renewals into plant is very similar to moving to another firm. And I've always enjoyed my job, to be fair. It hasn't felt like 30 years. It's gone quite quick, to be honest, which is quite scary. All I can say, I've enjoyed the time and still going forward, hopefully another 10 years. I think to say you've been at a single place for 30 years and you can honestly say there's nothing really you regret about it, there's nothing really you'd want to change. Obviously I appreciate I've had probably more luck than others, but honestly don't think there's out of would change.